Hello everybody, my name is Danotage and welcome to another New World video. In this video, we're going to be showing off some resources that I think will be very useful to people. It's not going to be a fully guide-based video. It's going to be, hey, here's some tools, here's how I'm going to use them, and I'm going to try to inject my experience into how to read this a little bit differently. I wouldn't say better or worse, just differently in my own perspective. First, I want to thank the wonderful people over at Aeternum Trading Company, who is their own company over on the NA East servers that they'll be playing with over there when the game launches. Tesh specifically is who put this together, so big ups to them. There's a lot of work that went in there, and I am truly grateful. We're doing a lot of work over here in the Dano Cave, but it's a little different and a little spread all over the place, so shout outs to them. Also, shout out to one of our company members in the Dano Cave, Blackula, who showed me this this sheet, and then the Fusion Thunder, who did a whole tutorial on how to read everything in here. Once again, this video is going to be how I see it and how I'm going to use it and stuff like that, which is specifically for leveling my crafting skills. What's going to be the most efficient XP focus on how to do that. So I'll also be showing off a map from Map Genie and the people over at Map Genie, some people I worked with back when I worked at Prima Games and we did guides there. So there's good people over there, and hopefully that serves as a very nice resource for you as well. So let's get into it. Okay, so one of the biggest things I found about crafting was deciding which items to craft simply just to level, to get from the minimum, get all the way up to the minimum level required in order to do the things you really want to do, or the items you really want to craft because somebody really needs something or you really need something. So here we're going to go through which crafts give you the most XP for the fewest, or at least the simplest to collect materials. Keep in mind that some of these will depend on your status on your server, meaning that if there's a crafting station that that isn't quite leveled in a section where maybe there's a lot of iron to mine, or your favorite place to collect said gear or said materials, keep that in mind. You don't want to be using a bunch of Azoth to travel it back and forth, or gold to get it out of the storage. You know what I mean? The skills that this video will be mostly focusing on, or at least what you'll find the most useful, are things like cooking, armoring, engineering, and weaponsmithing. Although armoring and weaponsmithing, there's really just a very simple trick. It's not even really a trick. You probably figured it out if you played the beta, but if you didn't, this is something that you may not know, and I wish I kind of knew a little bit more before spending so much time trying to do like weapons, like swords and shields and, you know, all that stuff. So I'll let you guys know that when we get there. First, as you can see, here's the page. It's very easy to read. I think they did a really good job over at the Aeternum Trading Company. So shout outs to them and all their hard work. So let's go to Arcana. As you can see in Arcana, it's got a lot of different stuff. It's pretty wide as far as what gives you XP and whatnot. So, as we'll see right here on the iron, like the Fire Staff, Life Staff, Ice Gauntlet, they all give you quite a good amount of XP. The only problem is it's a bit slow because you have to gather a bunch of the materials that you need for these things. So, if you have a ton, you can definitely use this for XP, especially if this is a skill that you wish to level quickly. I think that most of your XP is actually going to be better used, or better come from, and your materials are going to be better used by creating potions, as there are so many potions you can make that will always be useful, either by yourself, your company, or just put up on the trading post to be really nice. Gold. So corruption, regeneration, and each of the coatings here. So the Beast, Lost, Corrupted, Ancient, Angry Earth, those are all super easy to just get XP from and get them crafted and go pretty nicely. Anything you don't use, like I said, you can put it right on the trading post. It's not really a big deal. Next up, we have armoring. So in armoring, they're really straightforward as far as when you use more materials, or at least some of the, like the shoes are going to be obviously less materials than the leggings, but it's straight up double the amount of materials, so you're going to get double the XP. So keep that in mind. The only thing that I would suggest here is most of the XP is going to come from work orders. So as you see in the impenetrable crude iron armor, you're not going to be able to keep that or use that in any way. It comes from the town board quest, which is what I was talking about at the beginning. So if you go to the town board and you go to see how you want to upgrade your town, it'll give you a special schematic or blueprint to be able to make one of these things. And when you make them, you'll get a good amount of XP. You're getting quite a bit for each one. So just take them and do them. That's where your XP is mostly going to come from at the beginning. However, if you like to earn some XP on your own and outside of that, which obviously you're going to have to, especially if you want to get those work orders to upgrade and become more XP and better for you and not feel like you're left behind, which is, again, something I wish I would have known when I was first starting. I learned it pretty quickly, but the first couple days you're like, oh, I didn't even realize these existed. There's a couple things you got to keep in mind when choosing either making leather or making linen. Obviously, leather, in my opinion, well, it's not obvious, I guess, but in my opinion, leather is a lot more valuable. So you're going to be using leather in so many different circumstances. But another thing, too, is there are going to be periods of time on your server where people are just camping and just trying to take all the hemp that they possibly can in order to make the cloth that you need to make linen. So there's that. There's also the fact that linen makes, I believe you need linen for ammo. It's cloth for ammo when using bullets and cartridges. So if you want to make a bunch of those, you may also want to go back to the leather. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. It's not really, I know it's not really a tip. It's just more of, hey, you know, pay attention to what you're making. We'll go into cookings because it has all these things. You can find them on the sheet. I will, like I said, I'll link it and it'll be easy to read and you'll have it. But cooking is like the trickiest one in my opinion. Out of all of these crafts, cooking is the one that I focused on in the closed beta mostly. I did them all, but in the closed beta mostly I cooked for everybody. And it was probably the most frustrating to level because there was always something that we wanted or needed that required an herb that we had to go find and stuff like that. Straight away, travel rations and energizing travel rations are going to be the most XP. So as we'll see up here, and we'll go to the top, they are by far the most XP. They double almost everything or triple some things. The big thing with these and why I would say focus on all of these as we go down the list for XP is because they're like light meals and energizing light meals, etc. You'll get more every time you get to a certain level. These start at like 0 and then 50 and then 100 and then 150, I believe. The ingredients you need for them are versatile. You can change out so many things. I would also recommend not using the higher tier items in a place where you can use lower tier because you will be you can do it. That's the thing, is you have the ability to do it, but that then in turn wastes materials and wastes your ingredients. If you have the herbs and you have the special ingredients and stuff you might need for some of the other dishes, they are worth more XP, and you don't want to, you know, if maybe you're getting lucky and you're going out on good herb trips, and that's weird, it's a weird sentence, good herb trips, and you're coming back with a lot of cool stuff, then you may want to make those, and they will mostly always be extremely useful for everybody, so keep that in mind. If you're having trouble trying to figure out where to find said herbs, I will show you this thing that we've been working on, that, well, my friend's been working on. So if you take a look at the map here and change your resource filter to plant, which I'll probably talk to Game Cartographer at MapGenie and see if we can change this, because plant is a little bit broad. I think herb would actually work better here, because you're getting all herbs. So you got hyssop or hyssop or hosop or however you say it. That is pretty much found everywhere. You can find that in all the places. But if you put plant in, you'll see all the places all around Aeternum where these will spawn. They're static spawns, so they'll continue respawning. Some of the places with very high rates here. So as you can see, as you roll over them, it kind of says what you gather and whatnot from each plant that you pick, but it's from a table. And I'll also link the table. We have a very nice table for herbs in our collection as well. So I'll link that in the Discord, or not, I'll link it in Discord obviously, but I'll link it in the description as well. So and I've said this in previous videos, but each territory has its own pool of herbs. They're not very many, so really if you go find a spot here in like Scale Reach and just like collect through here, you'll find a bunch of different things within that. And if you have food procced, or you have a potion procced, or both, you'll be able to get more materials and a higher chance of some of the more rare materials when you go here. And that will help you a ton when it comes to getting what you need done as cooking goes. Next, engineering. Engineering is kind of one of those things that it's a little bit of a tough call, because there are a few things that do really well, but you have to sort of decide how much inventory room you have versus how much material you're going to get rid of while doing it. So my number one thing is gunpowder, and feel free, please, to disagree. I think that there are going to be a lot of opinions on engineering and gunpowder and versus making tools and whatnot, because I also think making tools is a good way to get XP as well. But again, you'll need a lot of materials, and sometimes it takes a little bit more time because you do have to craft every single one. That's really comes down to, honestly, like saving frames and speedrunning and stuff like that. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Gunpowder gives you 5 in a stack, which is important to know, because if you craft 100 of them, that's actually 500, which can get very, very heavy. However, with gunpowder, you can either sell it right away for those that want to make iron cartridges, or you can make the iron cartridges yourself. Me, personally, unless people need them, I probably will not be making iron cartridges. A lot of people will, because you do still get a decent amount of XP, but it's not a lot. You'll also notice that there's nothing flint on here, because flint doesn't give you anything as far as XP goes. So don't waste your time making a bunch of flint tools or arrows or any of that. So iron will be the main thing, which is also why gunpowder is easy at the beginning, because you're not using a whole lot of stuff. It's also just more XP for the most part. Arrows are nice too, but again, both of these are in stacks of 50, and your chances to become over cucumbered are rather high. So unless you are able to give it to somebody right away, or you have a high strength, be very careful. I will tell you though, don't freak out if you can't move, because you can throw stuff on the ground at wherever you are in the town. It's kind of serves as a temporary like buffer system, because once you throw it on the ground, it used to be back in the preview, anybody can take it because that's how you traded with people. But now it's specific to you. So if it's on the ground, you can leave it there and move stuff around and sell it before you log off or leave, or after a certain amount of time, because it will disappear. But you can use it as a little temporary holding zone. So if you want to go the route of just burning out XP, I do think gunpowder is the good way to do it until you get to like some of the other stuff, like the Armine, the expedition stuff. If you want to go that way, you can. But just remember that these will add up very fast. You can also take the tools route. We talked about this in a previous episode. One of the best ways to make money is to make tools and to get high procs on those tools. But know that will also take a lot of time and material. Tools are not really that cheap, especially if you want to make good ones. So you can make them. If we go to like some of the the iron harvesting skillet, or not the skillet, the sickle, it's 120, which really isn't that much more XP than just crafting gunpowder. It is more, but it's not that much more. But it takes more materials. So unless you're like, I just want to keep crafting while I'm here, get rid of some stuff that is not included in the gunpowder recipe, yeah, go ahead and just do them. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. It will get you the XP, it'll get you there, it'll get you going. Plus, you can break them down and get some of that material back. But yeah, I say, again, stick with gunpowder. Let's go to furnishing. Furnishing here. This chart is great. Furnishing, if you want stuff in your house, maybe you don't even have a house, you can make these. I have a strange feeling that a lot of these won't sell on the trading post, but who knows? There's a lot of people who like just decorating their house. The big thing here is gonna be the where is it? The chests. So if you look at the iron chests, which I believe is called iron storage chests. So let me see. iron storage. There we go. Which is great because the search on here is a little bit. It's exactly like it is in game. You have to type in what is there, but you can also sort by level and stuff like that, which is what makes this chart a little bit easier to read than going through in game. So the iron storage chest you can use as extra storage in your town. So having a house there and then putting those storage chests there does help quite a bit. I've seen a few people kind of trick stuff out with. There's one chest, I believe it's one of like the early chests that is available to the public, meaning I think it's the hewn log storage chest. If you see it at somebody's house and it's public to you, you can actually just go up and grab stuff on it. Which I don't know if it's intended. I'm sure it is because it's a low level craft. I saw people putting like decorations on top, like pets on top of the chests, and that actually kept people from going in and grabbing it. So you could try that. I wouldn't recommend it. I would just wait until you get to iron chests because I don't believe those are public. Somebody in the comments can totally correct me there. I didn't spend a whole lot of time in furnishing, but I know how important these chests are. And then when you get down to level like 70, I think 75 is the first one. Yeah, you can start making trophies, and the trophies help. Those actually do affect you as a character. So making those will help a lot. But in order to gain as much XP as you can make Ashstane. I think it's not very easy to gather the materials for, and it's really not that much XP. I would work on legitimately making nothing but chests. Even if you don't use the hewn chests, people will use them. And it's, as you can see, 282 XP per craft. And I don't remember these being very difficult to craft. So if you want to go that way, you can. You obviously need a few things to get there. So, I mean, you can make anything. You can break these down later if you want to as well. I believe you can, though. Again, another thing that probably needs to be corrected. So put that in there and craft to your heart's content. Trophies and chests are really the only things that I would say are both useful, will gain you XP. So you can either sell them or keep them yourself. Everything else, a lot of things you're gonna have to find. As you can see, all these with the schematic label means they have to be found, and you can't just have them. By leveling. So we'll go into Jewelcrafting, which I'll scroll over here to the XP chart. It's pretty flat across the board. However, the one thing I will note is that in Jewelcrafting, you're going to need, one, a ton of silver, because you need several pieces to be able to get a lot of these things together. But two, you're going to need a lot of luck. Not a lot, but some luck helps. It goes a long way when going and mining rocks or stone and iron and silver, etc. in that realm. Because the higher luck you have, the more likely you'll get these gems that you need for these items, which is pretty important when it comes to being able to level this skill in general. It's pretty flat across the board because they want you to be able to make whatever you like and not have to just waste a bunch of the pretty not very easy materials to gain. It's all of this is, it'll take a silver band, a silver chain, a silver hook, silver setting. You'll need to two of those different items, and then the actual gem itself to make the jewelry. So it's not necessarily one of the easiest things to do, which is also why this is a section I'm probably going to focus on a little bit more at launch. And I'll come up with some interesting ways to talk about that. But yes, so use these and be careful with them. Also remember that you unlock the ability to wear amulets right away. But when it comes to earrings and you can wear a ring right away, but when it comes to amulets and earrings, amulets come at level 20 character level, and earrings come at level 40. So if you're trying to make these and put these on the trading post because you're like, oh, this will make a ton of money, remember that if you're, especially early game, some people may not be able to grab them, which means they probably won't buy them even if it's good for later. So don't go crazy on a lot of these. The most XP is going to come from anything. I mean, it's all gonna be the same. So if you want to make the settings and a bunch of settings, you totally can, and use a bunch of silver. You could probably sell those if you want, as there's probably gonna be a lot of people looking for that. As silver is, it's probably as abundant as iron. It's just in different places. So I would, and that's something you can also look up on the map as well. Just be careful and don't spend a bunch of time in gold doing it if you're not going to do it yourself, because it not make the actual jewelry yourself, because it is a lot of material. Yeah, silver is pretty good. Near the iron as well. I think you won't have a hard time doing that. So, weaponsmithing. Weaponsmithing is very much like the armor smithing, except for more focused in the work orders, in my opinion. So you obviously have weapons and stuff like that. In my opinion, I wouldn't craft any weapons until maybe you get to some of the expeditions, because the cool thing with expeditions is you're going to get these things to drop in the expedition itself, but it's going to be like this, where it's going to be random in what you get and random what things drop. So there may be things where you want something that is similar to something that dropped, but you're like, I don't want to go do the dungeon again, or we don't have any orbs and we can't run the dungeon again. So you may want to come back and craft here. They do take materials that you can only find in the dungeon, so you may still need to grind it out a little bit more, and maybe it's getting a little bit frustrating. You're like, the thing I want just won't drop. So then, let's say you have a bunch of materials and just start crafting them. You'll find something. It's not easy, but as you can see, most everything here gives you a ton XP. As with armor smithing, work orders are going to give you the most XP. So every time you see one of these on the board, on the town board, pick it up, because it is very useful. You get a lot out of it. If you go and look at some of the lower XP stuff, it's probably stuff like iron sword. Oh, it's a honing stone, standard repair kit. It's actually not too non-useful. You can still use them, and you can use them a lot. Standard repair kits, you can probably spam these a bunch, because you'll then later use them for the bigger ones. But for the most part, these are just going to take up a lot of time, and, well, I mean, it'll use your repair parts. It's not that big of a deal. It just won't give you a ton of XP. So keep looking at the town boards, and maybe don't give yourself too much of a headache on crafting anything else until you kind of get a bunch of these under your belt. If you're looking to spam it and get it out as fast as possible, yeah, I would say seriously just going after and trying to get materials from the expeditions. Other than that, it's just going to be a lot of grinding small stuff out. So the next 5 skills, like weaving, woodworking, and stone cutting, smelting, leatherworking, those are all part of the refining tree, which is not super complex. Like you find coarse leather from getting rawhide, or you find rawhide and coarse leather, and you turn that into the next tier, etc. It's pretty straightforward there. The big thing here, and the question I've gotten a little bit was, what is the XP gain, or is it beneficial to downgrade some of these materials? Because you can take layered leather and you can downgrade it to rugged leather. The big thing is you're going to be using tannin to do so, and a lot of it. Personally, I don't even know what the XP gain is, because I didn't do it, because it looked like a total waste of time and materials. So if somebody has done that, and maybe there's some like very nice return on it, please let me know. It seemed to me like a total waste of, like I said, time and materials. So be careful with that, and somebody can report back to me. That'd be great. So yeah, I don't know if it gives you anything. So that's just my ignorance there. All right. So I don't know if this video it probably wasn't very exciting. It wasn't super huge or anything as far as information goes. But I hope that I was able to show you a couple of things and resources that you can use in your normal time in New World, and hopefully get your crafting to go faster and get more XP and all kinds of stuff. We have a whole mess of spreadsheets that we're collecting in the cave. I will highlight those as I find special uses for them and as we come across more. If you have other suggestions for videos and other sheets to share with us, please let me know. Put it in the comments below or join us in Discord. As always, please leave a like or a dislike if you didn't, depending on what you thought about this video, as they both help. And I will see you next time. Enjoy your day. Bye.